Howdy, my name is Hunter Scott in Professor Dowd's online PBSI 107 class, and today we'll be exploring a multi-stepped approach to understanding psychological distress and the medical model. Let's start off with a scenario to kind of help throughout the video. Imagine a counseling session where a young man comes in, he's feeling empty, he's feeling isolated, but also overwhelmed by physical exhaustion. His doctor immediately suggests antidepressants based on the medical model, but the man's struggles also stem from a history of childhood neglect, cultural pressures, of which the doctor could not see. So this hypothetical scenario displays how psychological distress can't be fully understood solely through an outside perspective. Like, the doctor doesn't know his past, doesn't know what could have happened behind closed doors. So I'm going to explain how the medical model interacts with childhood experiences, memory, and culture to shape mental health, and also discuss how clinical psychology can integrate these ideas into real-world solutions to benefit in real life. So first, let's go over the medical model. The medical model views mental illnesses as a result of biological issues, so like neurotransmitters imbalances or genetic predispositions. It offers clear benefits like clarity, treatment, and just accepting the problem, which leads to people desiring to seek help, which is really good. However, limitations are also presented, such as reductionism, which essentially just oversimplifies and downgrades stress while focusing more on the biology of it. And also cultural isolation, as in some cultures may not accept those with the diagnosis of depression. So it's a little bit sad. So let's go over memory, childhood, and neuropsychology of emotions. So childhood experiences and memories play a critical role in shaping emotions and behaviors that may later be labeled as disorders. I found 3 examples to demonstrate this: early attachment and memory, neuroplasticity and adaptation, and lastly, mislabeling emotions as disorders. So first, let's go over early attachment memory. So with the man from above, what the doctor could not see is that the man's mom neglected him at a young age. And this may have disrupted the early attachment, which has created awful, scarring memories of insecurity with her. These memories may contribute to emotional disruption, which is a causative agent of depressive episodes. So neuroplasticity and adaptation. During childhood, the brain adapts to stress. Chronic stress reshapes the brain's emotion regulating components, potentially predisposing the man to more depressive patterns. And then, like, mislabeling emotions as disorders, this is a big one. The medical model might interpret the man's coping mechanisms, like removing himself from social contact scenarios, as a symptom of major depressive disorder, when it may be better interpreted as a learned survival response because it's what he's been comfortable with and what he's always done. It helps him feel safe, help him feel, like he is comfortable. But without that background view, like, the doctor doesn't know that's what's happening to him. So it's like he's going to get that wrong diagnosis purely off of that medical model. So let's go over systemic and cultural influences. The man's story doesn't stop at biology or childhood, however. His mental health is influenced by different systems and cultural components, such as cultural stigma, economic pressures, and family dynamics. So let's go over cultural stigma. In the man's community, talking about mental health is like talking about politics. You don't do it. Instead, his distress is expressed as somatically with like headaches or tiredness. Without any culturally sensitive care, the man could be misunderstood or overdosed/medicated unintentionally. So they're just going to prescribe, they don't know. They're going to prescribe them, and it's too much. Like, there was no test done to see how much. Let's go over economic pressures. Just like the majority of humans, the man also struggles with financial insecurity. Like, that doesn't mean you have to be dirt poor or anything. You just are on top of your finances. The feeling of poverty, which doesn't actually mean you're in desperate need of finances, but your anxiety makes it seem that way, amplifies stress, creating a dangerous cycle of worsening mental health and limited resources to help address it. I mean, I feel like a lot of people struggle with that. Like, I have money, but when I spend it, I always feel like I need to gain it back and more. I feel like that's a really common one. In family dynamics, a lack of support or degrading family responses can further isolate individuals like the man from above, further escalating their struggles. So, like, if you feel like your family's not going to accept you or they make fun of it, like, it's understandable. Clinical psychology in the real world. So how can clinical psychology address all these things? Look at the man's brain, their history of neglection, and their cultural context altogether to create a more accurate and helpful diagnosis to the man's life. That's the biological, physiological approach. Cultural competence. We need to train doctors and medical professionals to understand and respect cultural differences in how distress is expressed and reacted to. And although this may seem like a duh kind of thing, it really is a problem. It's misunderstood. It's not really realized by a lot of people. So I just need to be trained to kind of accept everyone's backstories, cultures, everything, which you should do anyways. Second, we should use interdisciplinary collaboration, as in using different professionals to help with their specific expertise. So, like, for example, a psychologist might address the man's emotional struggles, while a social worker helps with the financial resources, and community leader guides the cultural healing practices. So it all kind of intermingles to help. Third, apply insights from other fields early on. For example, education. School counselors could spot early signs of emotional struggles in children, like the man when he was younger, creating interventions and solutions that prevent later distress. So if you notice the problem early on, then prevent the problem early on. Last, just actively listen and adapt. It seems obvious, but it's a big hitter. Doctors and clinicians should practice active listening, understanding people like the man, not forcing and pushing solutions on them, but really listening and figuring out like what needs to be done. So if we were to rewind with the man from above, how it should be taken care of is first, you should use a medical model to identify the biological symptoms, prescribe appropriate treatment for those. But then also, with any kind of trained professional, the man should have an in-depth conversation about his childhood factors, neglect, anything in his past that's going to be related. This will help that professional be able to provide more effective solutions to fit the lifestyle of the man and what he's experienced. With cultural opinions, financial situation, stigma, and any other systemic factor, they should all be discussed so that every single factor can be taken into consideration for the proper care and diagnosis. It just helps understand more all the factors and all that. But just by doing these things, it'll be a more beneficial and effective diagnosis to fit the needs of every specific person. It's not just a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. So anyways, to sum it up, mental health is not a thing where one singular solution suits everyone with mental health problems. The medical model provides beneficial tools, but combining it with scenarios from childhood memories, systemic issues, and cultural backgrounds creates better, more personal level care. By truly listening, thinking critically, and all working together, mental health could be drastically improved across the world, allowing for a healthier, happier population. Thank you.